One of the things with upfront fares for both Uber and Lyft is that you see where the pickup and drop off is and how much you're going to make for that particular ride. But what happens when there's a detour or something that's blocking you, like traffic jams, from getting to your location at the time and distance that they recommended for Uber? Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to the Rideshare Guy. And today we're talking about what happens when you have to extend the trip, either by duration because of a traffic jam, or you have to change the route entirely because of a detour. What happens? Are you getting paid for that? And also, how does Uber respond when something like that happens? So this actually came from inspiration from one of our community posts that you posted here on the YouTube community tab. Now, if you want to check this out or vent or share different experiences, make sure you check that out and share your thoughts, because that is the area kind of like a Discord, but you can talk right through YouTube. And if you have problems or anything like that, we take a look at it and see, but it's a great way for the community to discuss as well too. So make sure you check that out. But let's talk about this particular case right now. So Patrick had posted something saying, I got an email from Uber support accusing me of intentionally making a ride longer and threatened me with deactivation if it happens again. I messaged them explaining that the road on the GPS was closed and we had to take an 8 to 10 mile detour and took the only route I could, which was suggested by the passenger. Uber's response to my explanation was basically disregarded. I have my message in Uber's response. Any suggestion how to handle this? What if I get another ride that tries to take me down the same highway that's closed? So right there, yes, a detour or a traffic jam or something like that. Unfortunately, Uber's systems don't necessarily look at that. And yeah, when it comes down to upfront fares, now what you can get is you get a fare increase if the ride takes longer. So this is fantastic news, finally. So unexpected delays like traffic and detours can make trips run longer than expected. Thank you. Now, with a delayed ride guarantee, you'll automatically earn more anytime a ride lasts 5 minutes or more than the estimated pickup and drop off. It's our way of making sure your time is valued and every trip is worth your effort. So right there is something that, drivers have been wanting and requesting since upfront fares came around. What happens if the ride is too long? What happens if something happens and we can't take the shortest, quickest route? Because that's what upfront fares wants you to do now, is the shortest, quickest route. And sometimes there's detours. Sometimes there's things that are happening. So what can you do when you have to take a detour or there's a traffic jam and then all of a sudden Uber turns around after they said, hey, we know that there's detours and things like that happen from time to time, and then they threaten you with deactivation because you had to follow a detour that was beyond your control? How does that make sense? How does that make a driver happy about driving on the Uber platform when they have to get a passenger from pickup to drop off? The passenger said, hey, take this particular route because of that. Likely they know better because at that point they're driving it constantly and they know that the route is going to be, the next best route. And yeah, it might be 8 to 10 miles longer. It might be, 15 minutes longer, whatever it might be. So how does this make sense? First of all, it doesn't. Secondly, one of the things that you could potentially do is flag on the Uber app something that says, hey, there's a traffic problem here. I know you can do that right through the Uber app. So if there's a road closure or anything like that, flag it in the app. Because then that way, at least it's going to, have a little bit more backup and value. And then in the event that, let's say you have another route or another ride that takes that similar route, you don't have to worry about that necessarily because it should be flagged on the system that the road is already closed. So that's one workaround. But how do you know if it's like one or two and then all of a sudden you get this threatening email? Well, unfortunately, I think the problem lies with the AI and the algorithm. One of the problems is that the AI has no idea how to read different cues. It just looks at text on a screen and deciphers it that way. So when they put everything to AI, you're not getting the nuances that are associated with this. And I think that's the major problem when it comes down to it. Even when your response is saying, hey, the road was closed and I had to take a detour, and it's completely disregarded. It's pretty much everything that happens when it comes to AI review or anything like that. So yeah, it's unfortunate, it's annoying, and something like this should not happen. So Uber, if you're watching this, make sure you fix these types of things. And we're going to send it to you too, because something like this should not be happening. And if you're, experience a traffic jam or a delay or anything like that because of something that is beyond the driver's control, you know what? They should not be getting these emails, especially if that's a constant route that they take. I mean, how many times have you been driving out there and a road or a bridge is closed because of maintenance, and that is your normal typical route, and you have to take that or go around? And sometimes, if it's a bridge, you might be going a few miles one way just to cross over, and then, have to backtrack all that. So yeah, that can add up. And if you have to constantly do that, that's what some of these systems need to understand and realize. Now, yes, it's a pain in the ass, and it's annoying, especially when it comes to these messages. But if you ever get deactivated from one of these things, the best thing to do, not only having a dash camera and saving those particular trips when you have to use a route that is not the normal route or the route that they tell you because of a road detour, closure, traffic jam, whatever it is, save that, and then take them to arbitration. That's one of the best things you can do if you get deactivated. And you can state your case to a third party magistrate there, and hopefully they will understand and say, yeah, you're being stupid, Uber. This should not have flagged like that, and this driver is A-okay and should be back on the platform. So that's like worst case scenario, take them to arbitration. But best case is make sure you have everything recorded just in case, and flag the system flag the app, saying that there's a road closure or something like that. That's probably going to be helpful. I don't know if it's actually going to be guaranteed or anything beyond that, but at least it's going to be in the system that says there's a detour, and hopefully something like that will help. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be on drivers to have to flag the system and say something's wrong. It should be that they should be, figuring out these things, whether it's through Google Maps, whether it's through Waze, because all these platforms have people on them and the APIs you can use and track that data right there. Simple, easy. Could be something. I mean, the other thing too is if there's a roadway shutdown because of an accident, again, you might have to backtrack, go all the way around, and then come back. So yeah, it's going to add time. It's going to add mileage. And now with Uber's change to the policy saying 5 minutes or more is going to change the upfront fare in your favor, well, that's a good thing. Now, on the flip side, there are drivers who actually intentionally try to make the rides longer. Moral of the story is, if you're doing that, yeah, you're going to get deactivated. You are going to have a problem because they're seeing it as, we're giving you this route. This is what we're paying you for. If you can make it faster, great. We're not going to change the rate that you're going to get paid. But if you intentionally make it longer, you're defrauding the system. And in that event, you could get deactivated. So when it comes to something like that, just be aware, because that is something that you should not be doing in the first place to try to make the ride more than what it is. It's going to piss off the passenger. It's not going to be good for you anyway, and you do run the risk of deactivation. So when it comes down to it, moral of the story is, if this is something because of a road closure or something like that, I would treat it as, some of these other threats that they have out there. I would not necessarily take it to heart. It can be infuriating. It can be frustrating. It can be confusing. I understand that completely. But the problem is some of these AIs have zero idea of the nuance when it comes down to it. Like I say, they just read a text line and that's what it is. They don't have any understanding of emotion. They don't have any understanding beyond that. So when Uber flags these things and sends you these notifications, if it's one or two times, it should not make any type of difference. If it's more than that and constantly happening, then it's going to be a problem. But, like I say, worst case, take it to some sort of arbitration, and in that instance, then you could get back on the platform after they've exhausted their option by saying, oh yeah, we're going to keep you deactivated, or some stupid crap like that. So I hope that helps. If anybody else has some other options or ideas or thoughts when it comes to something like this, put them in the comments below and help other drivers be able to figure some stuff out, because unfortunately, it's not just a fight against Uber, it's a fight against the AI, and the AI sucks, and it only gets worse because it regurgitates its own crappy data sets. So it's only going to get worse and stupider, if you want to say that, or more stupid if you want to be right. But either way, I hope that helps, and put some comments below. With that being said, make sure you subscribed, and if you got problems or anything, make sure you put it on our community page as well, because like I say, it's like a Discord, and we do keep track of that, so we can see what's going on, if there's issues or problems or anything. And of course, emailing Sergio always helps, so we may be talking about it on Show Me the Money or something like that. Now, if you want to see how Uber and Lyft may have to change due to a bill that is being proposed and how it could impact who's driving on the platform, check out this video right now, and we'll see you guys in the next one.